Hello out there, YouTube. What's going on, guys? It is D-Dun here, the most chill COD player, bringing a pretty good gameplay here today. This is an 83 kill streak. I'm not exactly sure the gun streak. I should have checked that, but I didn't. If I had to guess, I would say it's probably like a 60 gun streak, because the only lethal streak I was using was the Warbird. So I'm pretty sure my gun streak was probably somewhere, at the very least, it had to have been like a 50 gun streak. Now, I'm using kind of a weird class setup with the AK on this one, just simply because I didn't have any attachments unlocked. I'm using the grip, the red dot, and the silencer. I'm not really sure if the silencer really helped me out all that much in this game, but I mean, it worked. And you're going to see for the majority of the game, I'm going to be holding down this half of the map, and for the majority of the game, they have A and we have either B is contested, or we have the C flag. So after the second round, the spawns do flip, and that is whenever I eventually die. A guy creeps up behind me, I don't know he's there, and he ends up killing me off my streak. But regardless, we got an 83 kill streak, a DNA bomb with a real funky class setup, so hopefully you guys enjoy that in the background. I think you guys will probably learn a lot if you watch how I play Solar in this gameplay. I pretty much play it perfectly, and if you guys are looking to, this map is in the rotation a lot, so if you're looking to pick up a DNA bomb, or you're not exactly sure how to play Solar, I would just advise you play it exactly how I play it in this gameplay, and I think you guys will do pretty well. But today is going to be the first installment of a new commentary series that I will be starting, called like Stories of Fatherhood, something like that, where I just kind of tell you guys, I love telling stories, and most of the time they're just like really fucked up news articles or stories I find on the internet. But these are actually going to be, about me and about my life, about, my experiences with fatherhood, which hopefully you guys will enjoy. I'm not exactly sure. We'll see how the response goes, but it'll also kind of give you guys a little bit of insight, into my personal life. So if you're wanting to get to know me as a person a little bit better, this is definitely, going to be a commentary series that I think you guys will enjoy. So I think the best place to start this series would be with my firstborn, which was my daughter. In case you guys don't know, I have a daughter who is now 2.5, and a son who is almost 6 months old. And today I want to tell you guys about the birth of my daughter, which is really where I feel like this commentary series should start. So basically, me and my wife were engaged for a few months when we found out we were pregnant. It was definitely a surprise. It wasn't something that we were shooting for, and the pregnancy went really well. We didn't really have any issues with anything. But my daughter it was starting to get late. She was already past her. My wife was already past her due date. And so the doctor had finally decided that she was going to induce labor at a certain day if she didn't go into labor. Now, I was at work whenever this actually happened, and I always kept my phone on me, of course, because I wanted, I was waiting for that phone call. And sure enough, I was in the middle of bagging up a guy's order, and I got the phone call. So I was like, "Hey," she's like, "Hey." It's like, "Are you having a baby?" She said, "Yeah." And so I immediately dropped the order. I was like, "Sorry, guy, I got a piece. My wife is having a baby," which he was cool with. But I got home and my wife was actually putting on her makeup, doing her hair. She wanted to look fresh whenever this baby popped out of her. And originally we had elected to have, a natural birth. We were gonna do. We were kind of undecided about the epidural. But we went to the hospital because my wife was having contractions at a very regular rate, which is one of the things that you look for whenever you're trying to decide if you're actually going into labor or not. Because you have contractions for some ladies have contractions for a really long time before they actually go into labor. But these were very consistent. They were only a couple minutes apart, which is a telltale sign that you are going to have a baby soon. So we go to the hospital. We check in and everything, and the doctor, checks her to see how dilated she is. And whenever they checked her, they told her, you are not dilated hardly at all, which you have to be like a certain centimeter dilated in order to safely, and effectively give birth. So they told us, you know, if you walk around and stuff for a while, sometimes that helps, you know, move the labor along. So they sent us out, and we just walked laps in the hospital until for about an hour or so, and then after about an hour, you know, we came back. They checked her again, and they said, you know, you're still not dilated enough. So we walked around for another hour, and at this point, they, you know, they said, okay, we can't, you know, keep you here because there's other people who are, you know, much closer to having their baby than you are. So what they did was, is they actually sent us home. Now the thing is like these contractions I was telling you guys about, they were, you know, happening at a frequent enough rate. So the only way to tell if she was closer in labor is to tell if how dilated she was. Obviously, I'm not a doctor, so there's no way I can tell. So we asked, you know, well, how are we supposed to know? And the answer they gave us was pretty shocking. Basically, they said, you know, whenever you are in so much pain from your contractions that you are crying and can't breathe, that's whenever you can come back. And I was kind of shocked by this, but I guess that's really just the best way that they could put it. So we went home, and my wife walked her around in laps and laps and laps for hours. I watched the Sunday night football game while my mother-in-law walked around with her and everything. And finally, she was just in so much pain. She had been crying for hours, and so she finally, you know, let's go. So we went back to the hospital, and the doctor checked her and said, okay, we were finally admitted to a room. And this might shock you guys, but we did not have my daughter. She was not born until 30 hours labor. My wife was in labor for 30 hours, which means I slept on the cold, hard linoleum hospital floor. And the birth itself, obviously, since it was so long, eventually got to the point where my daughter was so big. She was almost 9 pounds when she was born, and my wife has a very tiny pelvis. And so they had to basically use a big suction cup to get my daughter out. And you know, because of that, and because of the kind of like traumatic and lengthy labor, my daughter came out and she wasn't breathing. It was very scary. It was very scary. They got her breathing, got her cleaned up. They took her to the nursery, and they said, you know, in a couple hours we'll get you settled in your room and everything, and then you can go to the nursery and, you know, see your daughter and everything will be fine. We waited probably close to 3 hours, and we never heard anything. So we called down to the nursery, and they were like, oh yeah, well, I mean, we didn't bring her to because she stopped breathing again. What? What? You know, when you hear that, we're automatically freaked out. And I was like, well, how come no one told us? Nurse says, told you what? Why were we not told that my daughter quit breathing? She seemed very confused by this. But you know, eventually we went down there, and she had to be in the intensive care unit for a week, and we lived out of the hospital for a week basically, so we could be there to feed her and everything. And even after she went home, she had to have this little thing. The little stickers, and it monitored her breathing to make sure that if she stopped breathing, it would, you know, alarm us so we could resuscitate her. But that never happened. She was perfectly healthy, and we've never had any problems since. But you know, it was very very stressful. And that was my introduction into fatherhood. So that's the video for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, you know, leave a like. If you hated it or have any critiques, just, you know, dislike it and leave me a comment why down in the comment section. If you enjoyed the video and you enjoy my content, a subscription is always appreciated. And make sure to check out all links below in the description. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.